bit. Demetri Ravanos joining us now on the Heiser Automotive Group hotline.
Dimitri wants to know.
I was very curious. Also incredibly disappointed I had to put my shirt back on.
See?
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
You know, if we
I thought today was a radio special.
If it was a radio special, you could have done whatever you wanted, Demetri. I've seen you shirtless. It's impressive. It looks like Chewbacca. Now, Demetri writes for and works for, and I forget your official title at Barrett Sports Media, but I know you do a lot.
Yes.
Guru. It's sports media guru for Barrett Sports Media and the Dynasty Mode Podcast, where you talk about the NCAA football game. You were in Phoenix for what is Radio Row, but what is Radio Row in 2023? Everybody's got cameras and everything else. And the reason why I wanted to bring you on, you were there, and I understand social media kind of is what your bubble is, but I feel like a place that's ripe for viral moments, okay, had zero. I think it was today finally where Pat McAfee of the Pat McAfee Show said to Brett Favre, who brought forth a defamation suit to a bunch of guys over this, siphoning of money, allegedly, he cursed into the camera and said, "Bring it, I got lawyers." It's Friday, Demetri. So what is changed with Super Bowl coverage? Because I feel like the NBA kind of took the air out of the sails this week.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good point. To your point, we were in Phoenix. What do you think the biggest thing everyone was talking about on Wednesday was?
Kevin Durant.
Exactly. And here's the other part. It's not Radio Row anymore, Joe. It is Media Row for exactly the reason you are talking about, but more, I think, importantly, part of the reason there was no viral moment coming out of Media Row is that nobody was there. I mean, outside of the COVID Super Bowl in Tampa, this was the lowest turnout for entities on Media Row we have had in a long, long time. ESPN didn't send anybody.
No.
Fox sent their biggest shows off-site, like not on Media Row. What I found really interesting, and I'm going to write a little bit about this on Monday, is there were sections of Media Row that were set up for Sleep Number beds, for Kay Jewelers, for the Kansas City Tourism Bureau. I mean, it was almost like someone at the Phoenix Convention Center, or maybe the NFL, probably both, recognized we have all this empty space, we might as well sell it.
So it's jumped the shark is what you're saying to me.
In a big way. You mentioned Pat McAfee. Like, he was the only dude that drew a crowd of even media people. Like, I didn't see a whole lot of, like, you've been on Radio Row before, Joe. Like, there is always some setup where guys, whether it's producers or hosts or whatever, are hanging out hoping to grab either guests or the host of a bigger show to come on. And it was just, I mean, there was just no juice this year.
Do you have a theory as to why that is?
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's a few things. Number one, I think that when your company, and this is not just a radio thing. Like I said, ESPN didn't send anybody, radio-wise out there. When your company is trying to operate so much on the cheap, A, you send fewer people, and B, there's just less of a vibe there, and I think that sort of sucks some of the energy out of the room. The other part of it is this is one of those places where you are so far removed from where the actual game is that there is almost no way that anybody relevant to the week is showing up.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, so I think there is less there's less excitement about who is there, right? Like, how many times can Ryan Leaf tell his story? And I like Ryan. I think he's incredibly talented as a broadcaster, but he was there literally every day I was.
Yeah.
And I'll give the game away from the only Radio Row I've been to, which is at the Final Four. Westwood One does an unbelievable job. They bring you the people.
Yeah.
They bring you those guests. Like Chris Beard, when he didn't want to talk about anything other than Texas basketball, They brought him. But Joe tells me, Demetri, that for the NFL, this is when radio men were real men. You got to go and hustle and grab your own guests. Like, it's the Wild Wild West. Maybe get some NIL money up in there, Demetri.
Yeah, I mean, listen. So Joe Ovius, you have talked about this before. I know. Like, if you are a big market, like my buddy John Momola, who runs WDAE, the big sports talk station in Tampa, he knew who all of his guests were weeks before he got to Phoenix. That's not the experience you had because, you know, Tampa is not Raleigh, right? And so you are doing a whole lot of hustling to get people.
Even the guests that we did get that were relative to our audience, whether it was Phillip Rivers or Russell Wilson or Cam Newton, the amount of politicking and favors that had to be cashed in order to make those happen ended up being the case. All right, before we
listen, I saw someone that was not a football guest. Seth Rollins from the WWE went and sat down with a radio station in Albuquerque, and I saw like they were so smart to turn the mics on right before his handler got over to say, "What are you doing in Albuquerque?"
All right, so
hey, there's wrestling fans in New Mexico. Come on.
Before we say goodbye, Demetri Ravanos joining us here on the OG Barrett Sports Media. He's our sports media guru. So you went to the Fox junket, and this is really why I wanted to bring you on, because people are curious about how the coverage is going to go. I mean, I think the pregame starts at 11 o'clock. You can watch the game on Fox 50. You can listen to the Super Bowl on 99.9 The Fan while you're driving around, maybe getting some more wings for the party or whatever. There's an obsession over Tom Brady and whether or not he was going to show up to this thing now that he's officially retired. His contract is a big news deal. What is the consensus of what they think Tom Brady can be as an analyst? Because so far, non-football Tom Brady is almost cringy, like this week when he posts a thirst trap in his underwear. So what do they expect out of Tom Brady?
It's funny. So I talked to producers about this, and then I heard other reporters asking on-air talent about this, and I don't know if this was rehearsed or if this is just the case. I heard multiple people in multiple different walks of Fox say he has done a couple of practice games and he is way better than you expect. Okay. Like, it is clear that he wants to be great at this. Mm-hmm. I think everybody stops just short of saying that, you know, we absolutely expect he will be in the booth in 2024. A year is a long time, and Tom Brady, like, look, who is going to walk away from $375 million, which for people that don't know, over the course of 10 years, that is what Fox is going to pay Tom Brady. That's crazy. Is more than he made in his entire playing career. But he did make $340 million in his playing career. Who's going to walk away from $375 million? Someone who already has $340 if he just doesn't want to do the job.
Yeah, and somebody who might get a call from the San Francisco 49ers to be their quarterback. Who knows? Who knows? Hey, Demetri, we appreciate it. I was just curious because my curiosity around Super Bowl Radio Row was it used to be this huge event. It was must listen to stuff the week leading up to the Super Bowl. And I, coming up for air from various projects or the NBA thing, I go, man, I got all these people there, but nothing's coming out of it. It's kind of interesting. Appreciate the time, man.
Yeah, listen, I'll say real quick, if you go to my Twitter page, there is a video that I posted of a conversation I had with Greg Olson. You want to know who has a great sense of humor and absolutely should not be requiring this of him? Is Greg Olson. Mm-hmm. He has a great sense of humor of being asked about Tom Brady, and good for him.
Of course he does. All right, man, appreciate it. We'll talk to you later.
All right.